I think a lot of these things that we've been talking about really get to trust and safety, doing things that engender trust, make people feel safe. And, it's important for people to have, whether you call it psychological safety or whatever it is, for people to feel comfortable sharing whatever it is that they need to share, maybe an uncomfortable thing. I don't know if I want to share this with you, Salah. Maybe I wouldn't say that, but maybe I'm thinking it. But then I interact with you and I realize I can trust Salah. He's done everything to show that I can trust him. So I share the thing I need to share in order to think through the thing that I need to think through so that I can figure out what I want to do next. And if I didn't have that trust and safety, I might not share what I need to share and I might not get to where I need to be.
Mm.
So that trust, psychological safety, rapport is really very important.
We talked about confidentiality earlier. So starting with that, setting the boundaries that what happens in the session stays in the session. We don't talk about it outside the session without the permission of the client. Obviously, if they give permission, that's their permission. So and then that build that trust that you're talking about. And then it could also start to build that psychological safety so the client is more confident in bringing up topics that could seem difficult or awkward, and that how the client can grow and develop throughout the coaching. Because if they only talk about the topics that are easy topics or things that may be surface level stuff, they don't really grow or evolve. So without psychological safety, without trust and safety, nothing happens really.
I like how you referenced something we're going to talk about later, which is the learning and growth. And I think, I've just been observing as we've been having this conversation, how many connections and links there are between the various areas of coaching to each
Mm.
other and how they, it's sort of like a hologram. They depend on each other, they support each other, they permeate each other. It's almost hard to separate them apart. One last thought for me on this is if we're hanging out with a friend, they might say something and we laugh like, oh, oh my God, I can't believe you. But, that we're friends. But coaching from a professional setting, we need to be careful that we're not doing anything to judge people or make them feel uncomfortable or disrespected so that, they have that trust and safety. They feel like this is an area where I'm not going to be judged. Nobody's going to, unless you say, I want to rob a bank. That within that, I can say anything, feel safe. And so, it might even be you need to talk about your manager to work through something. You want to work with that manager. There's this problem, you haven't thought of how to communicate it. And so you may say some things in confidentiality to your coach you don't want shared. You have nothing against that manager. And if they heard it, they might take it out of context.
Mm.
But having that conversation gets you to a place of realizing, oh, you know what? Why am I making this a big deal? My manager's has really encouraged me to come forward with anything, and I think I just need to have that conversation.
Mm.
Great, and maybe that's what you needed to do to get there. I think in order for us to provide that, we need to really be paying attention so that we don't inadvertently step on something the person has said, or they're like, were you listening to me? It feels like you misunderstood me. So then that can erode that
Mm.
trust and safety.